They lurk in the forests and just below the water. Some come from the skies and crafts we can only imagine, and some even move effortlessly from dimension to dimension. We search for them, we study the evidence left behind, and we speculate. Who are they? What are they? Are they really there? Join us as we take you on your first steps down the yellow brick road of discovery. It's cryptids and aliens and fae. Oh my. Welcome to the Conclave. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Conclave.Podcast. I'm going to have a hard time figuring out where the heck to be looking at because, as you can tell from the background, we are not in the shop this time. We are at home because today is Thanksgiving.
So happy Thanksgiving to all out there who celebrate.
And those who don't or who are in a different country, happy Thursday.
Yeah, enjoy your bank holiday.
Do they have a bank holiday?
If they live in the U.S.
No, but I'm saying, like, the other countries, like, we do have not a large overseas following, but we do have a decent number of people from overseas that listen in. Regardless of where you're from, today here in the States is a day of being thankful and recognizing the good things that we have.
And we're thankful for everybody who listens to us.
We are 100% very much thankful for everybody that is listening to this podcast, continues to listen to this podcast, and hopefully continues on with us as we end this year and jump into next. So, which we will get there. There's going to be a little bit, keep trying to tell everybody a little bit at a time. I'm going to just adjust the camera slightly, get Jess in there.
Why?
Because you're the better looking. You're the better looking. We will be taking a small break at the end of this year to research some more episodes and get things back on track for that. We will be dropping the Am I the Asshole episode every 5, and instead, every now and then, doing an episode that's probably going to piss a bunch of you off.
Yeah, it's really going to be a how can we piss people off today episode, and it's going to be delving into some more controversial aspects of the metaphysical.
Topics like twin flames and starseeds, which we're going to touch on just a little bit today. But yeah, so what we're discussing today, and as you see, a bottle in my hand, we're going to try to keep the logos out of it.
Mimosas
and beers. It's
a holiday.
It's a holiday, and we tend to do it very low key. We sip on mimosas all morning long, and then we switch to something else in the evening. Never enough to quite get schmammered, but enough to be real relaxed for the day. So join us on this ride as we are talking about cryptids, aliens, and fae, how they may all be connected, what they might be, and kind of all that good stuff. Now, we're not going to do any one big deep dive into anything. We're just going to kind of talk broadly on all of it, but we do have a few selected from each as an example of what they are.
Yeah, we're just going to do a quick overview of some examples so that, you know.
And first, I think the first thing that we talk about, and I know it's kind of going in out of order from as we entitled it, but I want to talk about the Fae first, right? And this is, a lot of you more know this as fairies. Personally, I think it's a bit of an insulting name to give to them, because when you think of that, or when you hear that name, you think of Tinkerbell and Disney and all that good stuff. And that's not what they are.
And every culture has a different term for their particular kind of creatures.
Exactly. So the Irish have the she, the Scottish have the Sith, the Norse they call it.
There's a bunch. Hold on.
I wonder if this was coming.
Right. There's the Myling, the Draugr, the Pesta, the Mare, the Elfmere. There's.
Do they have a broad over?
In general, not really.
Okay.
Again, they're very similar to. There's the Landsvatir, which are your land spirits, but then they have just you'll see in like Irish folklore, you have like the Kelpies.
Yeah.
So they have ones that are specific to like trollish things. They're trolls. Gnomish things get the Nisbet.
I gotcha.
So it really depends on kind of what their aspect is or what they do that they get their like. But Lensfatir is definitely one of the more overarching, or just the Elfheim or things like that.
Right on. I dig that. Now, when it comes to our homeland, North America, we tend to, the indigenous tend to refer to them as, I think it's land spirit would probably be the overarching term for everything, and that would include,
There's the native Hawaiians believe in the Menehune. They're more dwarvish than fairy-like, so they're known for living in forests, skilled builders, they're craftsmen. Then you have and I apologize if I butcher any of these. The Shoshone believe in, and I take issue with the way these people are described. They're the Nimeriker, which I'm probably butchering that, but it was from the Shoshone tribe who believed in a small and violent race of cannibals. You cannot be a cannibal if you're not eating your own race.
Okay, so in that, it's the cannibalistic form. Are they eating their own race, or are they eating humans?
They're eating humans.
It's not cannibalism.
Then it's not cannibalism. Like, it's just they're predators.
At the same time, who are we to overstep onto the indigenous beliefs and translations of their own people?
Yeah, I just think that this was not, like, their name specifically translates to people eater, not cannibal. So.
Okay, so this probably, I'm going to assume, and if anybody knows better, you know how to get a hold of us. But I'm going to then go ahead and assume that this is kind of like a
mistranslation.
Well, somebody being like, oh, they eat people. Oh, they're cannibals.
But they're people.
Yeah. And that's what I see a lot of issues coming up with the Fae from around the world. People associate them a lot with human beings. And, even just because they are humanoids doesn't mean they're humans. A lot of places will refer to them as being evil. They're not evil. They're not humans. They don't have the same moral compass and moral rules as we do. They may not follow into what we want society to be like and act like, but that's because they're not part of us and our society. We wouldn't get mad at a lion for eating a random person. No, that's nature.
Yeah, that's just part of what they do.
Yeah. Sorry, I overstepped. If you have any other ones you want
to... The Narumbe from the Crow tribe in Montana, demon-like creatures, quote-unquote, made the petroglyphs on rocks in the mountains. They are said to be only 18 inches tall. Some tribes describe them differently as having incredibly strong and short arms and legs with little to no neck. So they're short, a little humanoid, but not how we would necessarily think them. It was believed they would steal children, medicine, food, and tobacco. And if you played a trick on them, you would have to face their wrath, which would end up destroying your family.
Interesting. So this is kind of a fun one because it's not what they do, but when you look at it, Fae stories from around the world, they share a similar storyline of children being captured. So that one was kidnapping children. The Pukwudgie, the New England region over to Indiana, they kidnapped children. The She in Ireland, they were well known to kidnap children. That's where we get the whole concept of changelings from. Same, I believe, in Scotland. And, when you look at Norse, I don't know if Krampus falls into that, correct?
Yeah, I would.
Or at least into the mythological side to it. He takes children. Now, his is usually the bad kids.
And it wasn't always just him. There was Hulda as well.
And Hulda and the Yule Cat. And so there's stories from around the world. And, I bet you, because we have that many, so already we're looking at over at least half the world. I bet you will be able to find a version of culture's Fae from everywhere in the world that has that story to it.
And, you'll see some of these things reflected even like Japanese yokai.
Yeah.
There's cultures around the world who have otherworldly beings.
Yes.
Who interact with humans, not always negatively.
Yeah.
But figuring out the rules on how to interact with them is kind of 90% of the problem. You cross them, you're going to have problems.
Yeah. Now, as
how not to cross them is always the question.
one thing you probably all, if you've been listening to us all year long, will know we're very big proponents of this from this part of the world and that from that part of the world are completely different. They're all the same thing. The classification of Fae kind of goes against that. So Fae, kind of like paganism, is an umbrella term, right?
At least the way we use it.
At least the way that it's become utilized and used in modern times. This is a big umbrella term that covers each culture, each region, each country. They have their own diverse ethnic groups of Fae and She, Sith, whatever, trolls, and they all kind of have their own breakdown of them and their own races of Fae. But, the Fae and the She and all that is kind of that overarching umbrella term. And it's important to cut this into it because as we look forward at the cryptids specifically, but even to a degree aliens.
Are we delving into, are they Fae?
Are they Fae?
Are Fae aliens?
Yeah.
Are cryptids Fae or are they aliens? Or
exactly.
like the Venn diagram of interdimensional beings is a circle, in my opinion. So I think a lot of what we're dealing with is different classifications for an interdimensional entity.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I think there's a possibility for that, and I think that will answer some of them. However, especially when we look at especially with aliens, I think there's that could, and that's going to be the last group that we talk about. There's that.
Oh, I believe there are some that are definitely
like another planet. I think it's for aliens. I think it's more than a 50-50. For cryptids, I think it's like a 50-50, right? Because, and this is going to be a great segue into the cryptids.
Mm-hmm.
With cryptids, we have a term of pseudo and a pseudoscience that goes hand in hand with it, and this is cryptozoology. Right. So, and I have the definition. If you guys see me dart my eyes over to the left a little bit, I have all my notes on the screen. Since we're at home, I didn't have a printer to print off my notes and have sitting at the table here. And our setup, quite literally, the camera is on top of a painting palette, which is sitting on top of a large jar of shells, on top of some books and a serving tray. You make do with what you have.
It's very folk practitioner.
It really is, and I love it. But yeah, so cryptozoology is the search for and study of animals whose existence or survival is disputed or unsubstantiated, such as the Loch Ness Monster and the Yeti. Now, those are ones that are obviously very, I think when we look at that, we have right there an indication of 50-50 of Fae and animal. But two big examples and two prime examples of cryptozoology finding an animal that was cryptid and is now recognized as a normal animal, we have the giant squid and the platypus. Both of them, until they were widely recognized and known, and actually to a degree, I do believe gorillas fell into that also.
Mm.
Until, the air quote Western world got to Africa. Obviously the natives
until
in
white
Africa
people got far enough into Africa to be like, oh shit, giant apes are real.
Not just white people, anybody except for the locals.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy for anybody to get in there except for those that were already living there.
But once people who were traveling enough to actually spread the word and bring specimens with them or bring an example back with them, be like, no.
It was considered.
This knife is real.
The giant squid, the platypus, think about that, the platypus, okay? Somebody comes out of the wilderness, is like, I saw this mammal with fur, webbed feet, a duckbill, poisonous claws, and it lays eggs.
And you're like, so we got this great place in Bedlam for you.
My guy, did you?
And
Fred is
entering the chat. No, never mind.
He just recognized the camera and said, "Screw that, I'm out of here." But the platypus sounds like somebody ate the wrong kind of mushroom while they were on safari.
Yeah. Like what plants were you eating in the outback?
Yeah. But then they're able to bring a specimen back, and boom, suddenly now it's no longer a cryptid. It's an animal. So this is why I say when it comes to the study of cryptids and look into them, that you very much have a chance of these being real-life animals that just haven't been substantiated yet.
We argue about Bigfoot all the time.
All the time. Now, we're going to get to that, but I do want to talk about two other ones first. One, let's go ahead and get this one out of the way.
Our local sad sack.
Oh, I was going to come to that after.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I was going to go with Nessie just because that's the one that everybody literally knows.
And knows was faked.
Oh.
At
It's been wildly faked.
At least
So
the OG pictures.
the Loch Ness Monster, right? And we're going to drop the monster side off that. We're just going to call it Nessie. However, a lot of modern evidence has been faked. When we look at that specifically, the 1933 photo, the surgeon photo.
Yeah.
100% faked.
Yeah, they eventually came out.
Yeah, they came out and admitted, like, yeah, this is not real.
They're like, yeah, that was
fabricated that. It's craziness that we're going on 90 years since that first came out. But we have cave drawings dating back to the Picts of a flippered long neck animal in the waters of the area.
And I'm not saying it's not impossible. I'm just saying the specific lore we have for Nessie in the last 100 years has all been fabricated. Correct. Now, the reason they were able to fabricate Nessie is because they had all this other lore to deal with.
So I think it's unfair to say it's all been fabricated. That picture was, yes, but not all of there's a lot of pictures out there that have not been
doctored.
That cannot be proved to have been doctored.
Gotcha.
We have a lot of evidence that is, what I'm saying? Like,
not going to hold up in a court of law.
It's
which is why it's still
and neither did
encrypted.
And until there's physical, in-your-face proof in a body, right? Now, I'm sorry, and I think I got the year wrong. But I do believe it was still in 1930.
Yeah, it was in the 30s.
For the picture. But that's also the time frame where we started seeing a lot more reports of Nessie.
Yeah.
Right? Not just that picture. I think all of the reports is what led to that picture being doctored. But that was the time frame when the roads that run adjacent to the rock
were finished.
So people were able to get to it.
More traffic equals
more potential for being visible. So then that raises the question, well, why isn't it as visible now as it would have been then? Well, because now Nessie knows that we're looking at her.
The chicken and the egg situation.
She wants her privacy. What I thought was interesting, though, was in between the Picts and 1933, we do have a story that was released in the 7th century, and it was a writing on St. Columba, which they find actually interesting. The parish that I grew up in at home and the Catholic church went to was St. Columba, and I'd never heard of this before. And it tells the story in 565 current era that there was a monster in the loch that had, or in the pond or whatever it was. I'm sure it wasn't locked at that point, but this creature bit one fisherman and was about to attack the second until Columba went, "Stop, go away," and it did. Miracle.
He probably just threw a rock at it and scared it.
Now, there's been a lot of people over the decades who have searched the loch. They've used sonar, they've used LiDAR, they've used every technology out there.
But it's such a uniquely, murky situation.
Not only that, but it's 23 miles. And at the deepest point is more than 230 meters deep. So for those
freedom units,
that is no. It's roughly like 690, 700 meters.
Okay.
Deep as hell. It's very cavernous. So there's lots of places for this animal to potentially hide. It actually holds 7,452 cubic meters of water. That's a lot.
It's a lot of water.
That's a lot.
And I think it goes to show that, especially our aquatic places, yes, we are not equipped to explore. Stay out of the water.
Yes.
Let's not see Jaws. Hell. The abyss. All these things. Stay out of the water.
With the ecosystem that's under there. So, for those who have lived under a rock and may not know it, was the plesiosaur? Is what they think. Plesiosaur is what they think Nessie could be. Big long body, long tail, flipper leg.
They look
long,
like plesiosaurs.
Long neck. smallish head and muzzle. So we're talking about a dinosaur here. Is it possible for an animal of that size to survive in something the size that we just mentioned? Yes. And there would be a diversity of fish and plant life under the water that could sustain. However,
how is it procreating without overflowing it?
Are we looking at the Nessie of now, the same Nessie from 565 that St. Columba told to go away?
Like, is Nessie an immortal being? Like, I know crocodiles and alligators, which are our closest dinosaurs that we can study easily.
Yep.
They live a long ass time.
They do.
Same with like the Galapagos tortoise. But ain't none of them living in like a millennium.
1,500 years.
Yeah, like
not happening. Unless
they are otherworldly.
Unless Nessie is Fae. When you look at, and I don't know if the Scottish mythology has the same thing, but when you look at Irish mythology, the Sidhe travel to and from the physical world to the other world by going into mounds, which would then take them underground and cross you over. So it'd be like going into a cave system. Like we just said, the locks are cavernous.
Underwater mound would be a perfect explanation
for Nessie to be able to go to and from.
Is Nessie just somebody's pet in the other world, and they just take her to Loch Ness for a walk? They're like, oh, yeah, it's the equivalent of taking your dog to the dog park. They just take her to the lake to let her run around.
I'm gonna do you one better. What if Nessie's a sheep herding dog?
Oh my god, that would be great.
Right? What would Nessie be herding? Kelpies.
Yeah.
Oh. Or silkies.
It's like the Scottish aquatic version of the Australian cattle dog.
Yes.
I love that.
New theory. Brought to you by Mimosa. But I kind of want to start with that one.
Mimosa and possibly ADHD.
I wanted to talk about that one first. I know we just agreed about talking about the Pennsylvania one first, but I think this is that prime example of showing how this could very well be Fae.
Yeah.
Right. Now, our Pennsylvania native.
Bless his heart.
It's the saddest cryptid out there. And we're talking about squonk.
It's the squonk.
It's the squonk. All right. So if you haven't heard about squonks, squonks are essentially oversized pigs with webbed feet, really, really loose, oversized skin, and covered in warts and moles and skin tags. And it is so sad. We call it a sad sack because it hates itself so much in its appearance, so much it cries continuously.
Because it's so ugly.
It's so ugly. So ugly to the point that it does not come out at night very often because it doesn't want to catch its reflection in a pool of water.
It said you can track it by the trail of its tears.
Poor little guy. So, squonks were first talked about in 1910 in a book called Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods. This was then kind of redone and rewritten in 1939 book Fearsome Creatures. They believe that squonks originated in deserts when they then went to swamps and eventually made their ways to the hemlock forests of northern and eastern Pennsylvania. The Poconos, actually.
Yeah.
There's squonk sightings in the Poconos. I wish I would have known that back when I lived in that part of the state. I'd have gone squonk hunting.
And its appearance in folklore coincides with the rise of the logging industry. So this is where I'm like, this is definitely, for me, the squonk is definitely Fae.
Yes.
I think this is something that saw the rapacious of its habitat, the rapaciousness of where it was chilling, getting destroyed by humanity, and that's why it's crying. It's not because it's ugly, it's because the places it loved and was comfortable were getting destroyed.
I could see that.
Because now that we have more preservation laws and things in place, especially in places like the Poconos and even here in Western Pennsylvania, there are, we have a lot more like state and national parks that have grown up. I think he's like, okay, I can just go back to my weird little forest and be left alone again. I think a lot of it was more the environmental destruction of his habitat that was
I can see that.
Started
I can see
rearing
that.
his head a little bit.
And this is actually really kind of important for him that, conservation comes into play, because when you corner Squonk or you scare him, if they realize or think that there's no escape in sight, they will actually melt into a puddle. They'll cry themselves into a giant puddle of water, and they will.
And what happens when you deforest the land? And there's nothing for the water to stop erosion?
Yeah. There's land even more.
It dissolves into mud and puddles.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a good one. That's a good one to look at. Yeah.
So I feel like the Squonk is like the deforestation Smokey the Bear.
Yes. Now, if the thought of a pig-like creature crying itself into a puddle isn't comedic enough, and listen, guys, I know it's some degree it's a terrible thing to think, but when you look at it on kind of like the dark humor side, it's kind of amusing.
I mean,
it's silly at the very least.
That's what we got the lamest cryptid. Let's face it. But at the same time, you know what? We're going to ride or die for our Squonk, all right?
Oh, I will jump in front of a Squonk to save it from a hunter any day of the week. Though that would probably scare it enough where it would go into a puddle. So
then we're starting with puddle long.
Productive. But I did the other fun side to it is they were actually given a proper genus name, and it is Lacrimacorpus dissolvens, which comes to it's Latin for tear body dissolves.
Oh, buddy.
Poor old guy. Like even his nickname, even his
like
scientific fancy name is. Oh, buddy.
Even fancy is like sad sack.
Sad sack. He's a sad little guy. Okay, so now it's going to start what's going to be a pretty big discussion, I think, because this is an argument that we've been having
for 15 years.
15 years.
We'd have been having it longer if we knew each other longer.
Now, I will say, once the concept of potential for this guy of being Fae, you softened your stance.
I did soften my stance. You got to also remember where I grew up. And the amount of people who swear they saw Bigfoot. My own,
You're on what?
My own dad saw a jaguar in Purcellville, Virginia.
I mean, that's not a big leap of belief.
There were no black jaguars. It wasn't a cougar. It wasn't a mountain lion.
Large black cats fall under the category of Fae.
I know.
And we're talking about the Appalachian region here now.
I know, but it's just
But it also wouldn't be too hard to believe that there could have been a cougar with a coloration issue.
Yeah. I'm just saying most of them made their own moonshine.
Your dad did not make moonshine.
No.
Drunk weed and doing.
Yeah, we'll not go into what my dad was doing.
Anywho, so we are talking about Bigfoot, right? Sasquatch, the Yeti. During my brief little research on this, and I think it'd be great to kind of do a deeper dive on this eventually one day.
Yeah.
Because I find this concept, I find the concept of Bigfoot to be absolutely fascinating. But Sasquatch, Yeti, they are considered different.
Yes.
But I think this is, while Bigfoot researchers and everything like that would want to try to make it sound like they're completely separate things, I think this is be the same, and we're gonna use human
polar bear versus grizzly bear.
That's less controversial than saying it.
It's one's the snow Sasquatch, one's the mountain Sasquatch.
Pretty much. I was gonna say the difference between white people and Asians, because one's in North America and the other one is in the Himalayas.
I just figure they evolved different skin tones and stuff.
Yeah, there is a slight belief that Yeti crossed the land bridge into North America, and that's how they got over here.
And they didn't need the
one. So it would show that genetic similarity in that family. All right, guess which one's bigger?
The Yeti?
Mm-mm.
No, I would have thought that too originally, but when you look at it, it makes more sense.
Yeah, when you think about the resources available in an exactly snowy, mountainous region versus what's available in a forested region as far as nutrients.
Yeah. Now, height-wise, they're fairly similar. I believe Yeti, the one site I was saw was saying anywhere from like upwards of 8 feet.
Yeah.
Whereas Bigfoot's up to 10. Couple foot difference, not that big.
But like
weight range, Yetis you're looking at high end like 500, Sasquatch high end estimate like 9.
Yeah, and if you're looking at height ranges being like 2 foot difference, all right, humans run that way too.
Yeah, exactly.
Male, female, age.
Yeah,
different environmental factors, genetic factors. So it's not weird to have like a 6'5" human and a 4'5" human.
Correct.
So
Yetis tend to live in the caves and up in the mountains. They're very territorial. They're very aggressive. They're going to come after you with sharper claws and teeth and whatnot. Whereas Bigfoot, much larger, they're seen to have an omnivorous diet, animals as well as plants.
I think they have the option to be a little bit more opportunistic too, because they come into contact with humans a bit more.
Yeah.
So like they're going to be digging through your trash or hitting your barns for your chickens, things like that.
Both of them are hide and go seek champions.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say probably Sasquatch has a little bit more of a right to brag on it.
I think he has more opportunities.
Well, it's just, we've expanded into a lot of the areas, or at least hike in a lot of the areas. If you want to go for a hike anywhere in the United States, you can, for the most part.
Yes.
Without being like a trained professional. If you want to go hiking in the Himalayas, you better be a trained professional.
Except for Donner's Pass. Stay out of Donner's Pass.
Don't get me wrong, there are parts and points, especially in like the Rockies, that you would not want to do unless you really know what you're doing.
Yeah, any mountainous region, you need to know where you're going.
In general, you can go, because, there's Bigfoot sightings everywhere in this country.
Mm-hmm. West of Florida.
We just had one recently here in Pennsylvania. Pacific Northwest, all the time.
All the time. That's one of the hot spots.
West Virginia and the Appalachians and especially like the...
especially like rural West Virginia, Tennessee border area.
Very much so. Like the Great Smokies, there's a lot of stuff there. These beings show intelligence in both the way they hunt. There is a lot of, we'll understand when I say evidence, this is air quotes evidence. Okay, I know it's not necessarily hard set, and there's evidence of built in shelters, using knocks to communicate with each other, different vocalizations to communicate with each other. There's tools that have been found, burial sites. There's points of complex social activity and intelligence to them. You don't really see that so much with Yeti, from what I understand, but that's because it's remote areas that they end up being. Because it's territorial, they'll tend to live alone, whereas some believe that Sasquatch will live in, at the very least, family units.
Like smaller groups.
Yeah.
And see, this is why, and this is my biggest defense against it being an actual, like, North American primate.
Okay.
First off, very widespread territory. Typically, when you see large primates, they have a very set territory that is homogeneous. But also, we've pretty much discovered all the primates. At least all the large ones.
That's so. A lot of the woodland areas that they live in are still very only discovered and explored in minor sections. There's still large chunks of woodlands in this country that have not been charted.
But they're coming into contact with humans. They're not that far out.
But the denser populations might be further out. What we're getting is crazy Uncle Chet, who likes to live on the fringe of their society, which happens to be the fringe of our society.
And I get that, but like they're still coming into contact with humans enough that we have all of this spoken folklore about them, but yet we cannot get any hard evidence. We cannot get pictures that are not nonsense. We cannot get footprints that haven't been debunked.
Oh, there's a lot of footprints that haven't been debunked. Lots of them. A lot of people just assume they're obvious fakes because it is easy to fake.
Yeah, it's super easy.
It's super easy. Like, I will admit, a lot of the evidence we have from is super easy to fake. However, there's also been a lot of fur evidence that has been sent in to zoos and analyzed, coming back with unknown primate.
Oh no.
Unknown primate.
And yet nobody with a degree in anything other than, come on, Chet, let's go get our gun. We gotta go find them as their Sasquatch, is coming up to do any of the real work. We get...
Well, that's not true. We have cryptozoologists all the time going back for it. But at the same time,
they're not as reliable as MUFON.
You see this in a lot of things. Like when we're going to touch on aliens here a little bit. You see a lot of military personnel and a lot of police officers and civil servants who keep quiet because you're putting your career at risk if you speak up and say this is real.
Well, and just like, I mean, I was just...
And scientists are like way harder on each other when it comes to that than anybody else.
Well, and I was just listening to a podcast on the Battersea Poltergeist, and it's like, yeah, anybody who comes forward to be like, yeah, this shit's haunted, I'm sorry, and people are like, well, you're crazy.
Exactly.
Which is 100% true, because even I do believe in these things. I live in this world. And anytime somebody that I do not know comes with me like, well, I think my house is haunted, I'm like,
I have a curse put on me.
I'm like, do you? Or are you off your meds this week? Like, and, through discussion and just, I mean, obviously, like, I figure out what's going on, but yeah, ain't no one gonna believe me if I'm like, yeah, I saw Sasquatch in back there.
Yep.
And I would expect them not to, and I'd probably just be like, I'd tell Pat, I'd be like, hey, Pat, yeah, Bigfoot.
When I do see Bigfoot, because I swear to you, a life goal, a bucket list, I will get a visual on a Bigfoot. I'll tell everybody. Y'all already think I'm crazy anyway. To a degree I am, but I'm not that kind of crazy.
You're not that level crazy.
I'm not that level crazy. I move around the beer mats at my other job because they have to be in certain size and color order crazy, but I'm not hallucinating crazy that I know of anyway. But it's dangerous for real scientists to put
a name on something
like that.
Especially if they can't bring back a specimen.
Exactly. So...
And they're not going to get funding to go chase Bigfoot.
They're not. Now, okay, so that brings in the next big question. Let's talk about validity of life, right? We are going to talk about what are they. We've already mentioned the first one. The first big one that I think is probably the largest accepted is that it is a Gigantopithecus. It is a giant ape. It's a form of primate that has just not been fully discovered yet. Much like the giant squid, it took a while for them to be able to get a specimen for it. Nobody's going to believe it's a real live animal until they have a body in hand. That is the biggest reason why it'll not be confirmed ever.
Until somebody brings in a Bigfoot. And they can DNA test it to make sure it's not just a rendition of another. Like somebody lost a zoo animal, or
Sorry, I'm looking at the notes on this. So there's some people that believe that this is a formerly thought to be extinct hominoid. So this is the missing link theory.
Yeah, which I don't buy into.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. If this is a precursor of man, why did it not evolve beyond?
Well, and I think part of that theory is kind of came to about before we realized that large primates did these things as well.
Yeah.
Before we realized they did have communication and social groupings and used tools.
I mean, heck, the giant orangutan falls into the form of cryptid.
Right.
Well,
so like before we realized that they had these structures, because before I know even when we were coming up in school, it was like, what separates us from chimpanzees? And it's like, oh, well, we use tools. And it's like, No, they will use rocks to accomplish goals.
Yep.
They will
They'll use
create
sticks,
shelters. They will
yep.
change their environment. So that does not hold. And that, again, I think that particular theory stems from the fact that we didn't want to recognize that apes did some very similar things.
Some very human things. I can agree with that. It's also, I think, when you look at it, stuff like the name Sasquatch and other names for it throughout the world, not just in North America, because this is a phenomenon that does stretch. Oh, I just realized I got powdered sugar all over the sweatshirt I'm wearing. My apology, guys. Just made some fried bread this morning and powdered sugar it. And I just noticed the white dusting. A lot of original languages, their words for it translated to wild man.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we see stories coming from around the world of wild men. Men that didn't live in society, lived in caves or amongst the trees, had hair all over their bodies, were larger than normal. So again, these are all things that would support the giant ape theory, right? Even when you look at the physical descriptions of Bigfoot, conal head, small head, essentially no neck, real thick, right?
You got that defensive lineman neck.
Defensive lineman neck. Short legs but very long arms, right? So these are all things that in itself are very ape-like.
Mm-hmm.
Teeth structures, kind of believe they have like the gorilla-style fangs as well as the squared-off teeth. Because again, omnivorous.
Yeah.
So I think the extinct hominid just kind of lends a little bit more validity to Gigantopithecus.
Yeah.
Right. The third option, we have a transdimensional being. I think this is just a fancy way of saying Fae without people being like, if I say it's a form of Fae, I'm just going to be told I'm crazy.
Well, and I think also when using the terminology Fae, a lot of people immediately
they think Tinkerbell,
or they leap to like Celtic,
true,
definitions of what Fae are, and it's like, yes, there are similarities. We are using the term Fae as an overarching for these transdimensional beings, not implying that they are all the same as the Celtic ones.
Yeah.
This is just a terminology that is comfortable for us. I just want to put that out there that we're not just saying like it's just kind of an umbrella short term for transdimensional being.
Essentially, yeah. So when we look at that and what kind of supports that one, that even dates and goes back to the OG of Bigfoot footage. We're talking about Patterson Giblin, right? They see Patty, they follow her, and then suddenly Patty disappears. Into a section of woods that had an animal that large just chomp through, it would have been noticeable. They were hunters. They were tracking, right? The same, and of course, the trees in the areas of where they weren't going to be thick enough to handle a 500 to 900 pound animal.
Right.
So that kind of lends the validity to transdimensional being, and you see that same thing happen to numerous Bigfoot hunters.
Yeah.
Right. They'll be hot on the track. They'll see and they'll hear things. They'll be getting closer, then all of a sudden gone. Not in the treetops. There's nothing for it to have gone into. It's essentially as if they opened a door out of thin air and stepped through to a different realm. So, idea 3, transdimensional being. And I think this is where you officially get on board.
Yeah.
I am on board with A and C. I'm not gonna. I can't go along with B. It just doesn't scientifically make sense. So another one of our cats makes an appearance. This is Quinlan.
He's our OG.
So I don't think the missing link makes any sense at all. So I honestly throw that away immediately.
Yeah.
The fourth one I think is the most ridiculous one.
Ooh, what is it? Is it a kitten?
It's not a kitten. It is.
It's so bad.
He's so bad. It is the belief that Sasquatches are an alien race that have been brought here and left here as if we're a penal colony.
So, like, they're being punished by being dropped in the middle of
The woods, yes.
bumfuck
Yes.
shit, and
We're their jail. Other aliens bring them here and drop them off. Now, the reason for that theory, there is a connection, I suppose.
that's what we would do.
I'm trying. I mean, Australia.
Yeah, Georgia.
But, so when you see areas of high Bigfoot sightings, they also tend to be areas of high UFO sightings. The place right down south from here, the Acorn. Oh, God.
Northwest?
No, that's Mothman.
Yeah.
No, it's in Pennsylvania, and oh god, I can't remember. Do me a favor, look on your phone real quick. Pennsylvania UFO, Western PA UFO sighted in Acorn area.
Okay.
That should.
Western PA.
But anyway, so there's a lot of correlation between high Bigfoot sightings and UFO sightings.
Is that the Kecksburg?
Kecksburg, yes. No, that's Kecksburg Monster. That's in Lake Michigan or whatever. No?
Kecksburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yes, yeah, that is.
1965.
Yeah. There's another alien one that sounds, but yeah, so down in Kecksburg. High Bigfoot concentration. Oh, it's up there.
Looks like that.
High Bigfoot concentration, high UFO crash site, actually. And we go down, even like Skinwalker Ranch is reported to have high concentration of both of those, to have high concentrations of interdimensional type stuff. So that kind of adds to the whole thing of it's all connected.
To me, that just signifies more a concept of like ley lines and energy points.
Yeah.
And that's why we have things like the pyramids and Machu Picchu.
Yeah.
Like, I think great civilizations are built on places that energetically make sense, and a lot of those places are built around landmarks and water.
Yeah. Now, the thing that I do like about this theory is that it means Wookiees are real.
Thank you.
Again, that's not what I really fall under. My personal beliefs, I truly believe that it's the giant ape theory. It's giant Pithecus. I think it's an animal out there. One of these days, we will have a body to be able to.
I'm willing to leave my ideas on the Gigantopithecus open. Gigantopithecus open. But I'm going to need a body.
Yeah, a body is going to be necessary.
For me to. Otherwise, it's transdimensional.
Okay, but you understand that when that body is finally discovered and it becomes real, I'm going to be rubbing it in for years.
It's fine. I will expect that. Just like when the Bears win the Super Bowl. You think that will never happen in our lifetime?
I think that Bigfoot is probably
it's actually more
likely to happen in the next 10 years than the Bears winning a Super Bowl. She keeps hoping. Okay, so now that has introduced the third part of our discussion today, and that is alien, E.T. So
where do we start, guys? We're going over 3 major groups.
Yeah, we got a couple groups to go over, but first let's just talk about the fact that we're not talking the validity and the actuality of aliens, more of aliens that are actually visiting Earth.
Okay, because I think it's hubris of the highest order to think we are the only, I'm going to say, quasi-intelligent life in the universe, because honestly, some of us...
Y'all have me questioning.
Don't use the toaster in the bathtub should not need to be a label on a toaster.
All of our medications that are advertised on TV, don't take if allergic to this medication.
I'm like, we're going to say quasi-intelligent species in the universe. If we're the best the universe has had,
that's scary.
Bless our heart. I'm so sorry. So I don't disagree that there is intelligent life out there.
Yes. I mean, over the last 5-10 years, they found a couple hundred habitable planets.
I want one that is run by cats.
Oh, that'd be horrible.
They would be knocking everything off the table.
Yeah. So anyway, the idea that we are the only species out there, I think, is completely insanity. Now, the question is, are they visiting Earth? And if they have child trying to sneak in the background, which we are not allowed to have on the rules of YouTube, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way to.
If you do it, it will die.
It comes down to whether they are coming here in ships, watching us, observing us, and participating. Are they abducting us and doing studies on it? Are they trying to create hybrids? These are all things that are
all theories.
All theories, and they are something. Do I think UFOs exist? Yes, I do.
100%.
I think they're coming here. I don't know if they're necessarily interacting. To me, it'd be more like with in the Star Trek world, when they found a primitive planet. They would observe and stay out of it.
Or even like how, we go to Mars, we send a probe.
Yeah.
We send satellites. We send cameras, telescopes, things like that to observe. Like, it might not even have a life form on it. It could just be a mechanical thing that's sending back information.
I think that is possible. Do I think there's some range of truth to Roswell and the recovering of alien bodies through stuff like that? Honestly, yeah, I do. I think that's probably kind of a hopeful sci-fi fan of me coming out a little bit on it, but it would make sense on why in the early to mid 1900s we had such massive jumps.
And it wouldn't surprise me that they sent like exploratory units down, and that maybe a couple of them had mechanical malfunctions, etc., that ended up having them crash land somewhere. And we were like, well, this is interesting. Time to chop this baby up because let's face it,
and that's not to say that all of these stories of being abducted by aliens are false. I'm not calling them liars at all.
I'm not saying there isn't a chance that they tried to.
There's some of them that it actually, if they are telling the truth, then
there are some that are very compelling.
Very, very much so. So there is an opportunity. There is a chance it's like that. I'm not displaced that. Kind of like you with the Bigfoot maybe being a giant ape thing, right? I'm kind of more on that one. I'm more on the believer side of skepticism when it comes to alien abductions, which is why I think there's some like the Terry Lovelace story. Mm-hmm. That's like, I mean, how am I going to refute that?
Yeah.
Like if that isn't true and real, he is one hell of a storyteller, and I don't want to know that it's fake.
And for me, it's not that I don't disbelieve; it's that I don't care. Like, it doesn't have a bearing on my life. And it's like, I'm not going to sit there and tell somebody that they're lying. I'm going to be like, all right, that sounds wild. And I can't think of a logical explanation for something else that could have been happening. So I'm going to take you at your word for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also like, I don't deep dive into aliens as much because I don't care.
My thought on that is, when you deep dive into the metaphysical world, you open doors.
Yeah.
Right? You start learning tarot, your intuition jumps up, you become a beacon, you start seeing things and hearing things and understanding things, and it gets worse and worse and worse, or better and better and better, depending on how you look at it.
Or how you practice.
The more you open the door, the more you're exposed to, the more that come around. You become a light bulb, and all things metaphysical are moths.
All those moths to the flame.
Exactly. My worry is if you put too much thought and research into it, you do the same thing.
Yeah, you're going to be like, hey, aliens, come see me. And
at the end of the day, no thank you. No thank you. You know what?
I have not...
Send me into a house to have to clean out demons.
Right.
Poltergeists.
I have not heard of one person who has come out with their alien story and not had their life completely crumble around them. So you know what?
I'm good.
Please leave over there. I'm good. Please. Thank you.
Unless it's 100%, no. 1,000% necessary. I don't think any situation where that would be.
I will never buy into the ancient aliens idea of, oh, aliens made the pyramids, aliens made this, aliens made... No, that people did it.
Oh, hey, we finally broke the F-bomb. At almost an hour in.
Pretty good, especially considering the fact that I've been drinking all morning.
I'm surprised you didn't call me a fucking idiot earlier.
So, like, no, people fucking did that shit, okay? Just because they were ancient doesn't mean they didn't do that shit.
This isn't an argument I take up very often. But when you look at it, what societies are being told you couldn't have done that had you? The Egyptians.
The Aztec, the Mayan,
Incan.
the Indians.
The Europeans being told they couldn't make Stonehenge or build any of the stuff that they built?
Stonehenge, yes. People are still like, Stonehenge. But they're still like, well, it was probably people. We're just not quite sure how people did it.
They don't know how they did it, but you don't see as, let's just say it's not as big of a push.
Yeah.
Right now, the way people absorb knowledge, I would be shocked if there was not a 50-50 split on if this was something man did or alien did.
Yeah. So.
And they're only doing it to the non-European. You guys are understanding what I'm implying here, okay?
Yeah. If it's not Western European, it was aliens. And it's like, no, people did that shit.
People did that.
Sorry.
And there's been a lot of people who have shown how they could have done it.
Yeah.
Whether it's the moving of stones that large, the cutting of stones to that particular.
They just found the quarries that the Easter Island heads were...
Easter Island.
Easter Island.
Yeah,
the Easter Island heads.
Sorry, no, what threw me off is you call them Easter Ireland.
No, that was my tongue got me.
Yeah. I was like, one of these words threw me off. There's no way she got
the Easter Island heads. They found the quarries, and they have determined how they were walked.
Yep.
Literally walked to their current locations.
Yep.
Like, they're like, no, people did that shit. Here's how they did that shit.
Yep.
And you're still going to have a bunch of people going, hey, look, I need leaves.
Yeah.
No, people did that shit.
No.
I don't know why they did that shit, but they did that shit.
Yeah. And I applaud them.
Good on you. That's awesome.
And that's the other thing. Like, people are like, oh, we can't do that today. We can. A lot of Masons have proven that this is technology that man can still do. It's not, yes, is it to a peanut brain like mine? Is that something that could ever grasp the concept of being able to do? No.
And also, my brain doesn't be quarrying stone.
Yeah, my brain doesn't work in that fashion. That's not the thing that I would be the guy that would be, painting the hieroglyphs on the wall.
Right. I am the artist, not the worker, not the engineer. I'm not an engineer.
All right, let's be honest. My big ass would probably be the one pushing the rock. But designing it and being the architect, heck no, my brain doesn't work that way.
And it's like, no, if we didn't fill our lives with so many distractions, like, look, we have all the distractions. When you don't have the types of distractions we do, which means like constant gratification in the forms of clicking and scrolling and reading and TV and a lot of that gives us a lot of access to the rest of the world. It gives us a lot of emotional knowledge, EQ for how to interact with other people, how to interact with other cultures. That's great because we are now a more global society than we ever have been. But if we were still very close-knit and we spent 6 months out of the year with not a whole lot to do after dark, you start coming up with ideas because...
That's fair. You also look at, and this just popped in my head as you were saying that, back then, you were apprenticed at the age of...
12, 11.
If not younger.
10, 11, 12 was usually go get it.
Being an architect and building these big, massive structures is the only thing you ever concentrated on. So while, modern education system is great because we know a lot more general knowledge, we will never have
Jack of all trades, master of none.
And we'll never have anybody as masterful at a single trade as those apprentices who spent their literal entire lives learning to build one pyramid.
And now instead of that being kind of the norm, we actually have the exception. We have the people who are hyper specialized because that's just how their brain works.
Yeah.
And they get into it and they're like, oh yeah, and this is how you create microchips. And boom.
Yep.
an entirely new civilization because some guy was like,
well, and they had those people back then also. So not only are you concentrating on one thing for your entire life, your hyperfixation brain is hyper fixating on that one thing.
right. So, and you don't have the distractions to take you away from it. It's just, here's your thing.
Yep.
Go.
Yep. So, okay.
Sorry, that was a
Tangent.
hella tangent, but
So when we look at it, there are numerous forms of alien species out there that they believe are out there. Now, these are all speculation. These are all one big giant conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
From here moving forward, and already happened when we discussed this conspiracy theory or assumption. This is even more so.
And the three we're going into are the ones that are most widely discussed or popularized through media and, film and conspiracy theories and the internet. These are the ones that, like, everybody has heard about if they, like, even shallow dived into alien theory.
They'll get it. So, and the first is going to be the Greys. Right? It's the second one I have listed and written down in my notes, but it's the first one to talk about.
It's the little gray man with
It's the little gray man, about 3 meter tall.
What we think
isn't all that little, because 3 meters is still 6 feet. 9 feet. No.
Is it 3? No.
No, sorry, it's supposed to be 3 feet tall.
1 meter tall.
Yeah, I don't know. My notes are. Because
you were going back and forth between the metric of Nessie and.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And
so they're about 3 feet tall, some older, some taller, some smaller. That's kind of your average. This is the large oval shaped head, giant black almond eyes, small nose, slit for a mouth.
When you think Area 51, Mars attacks, like these are your Greys.
Yeah. All American Dad.
Yeah. Roger.
So that's your typical. These are the ones that you hear most often associated and tied into abduction stories. After that, we have the reptilians. These are the big bad guys.
Yeah, the draconians.
This though is one of the races that people view with the most skepticism, because they're mostly just thrown into giant conspiracy theories.
It's always like, oh, the reptilians are actually controlling the government, and they're feeding the human race to, like, they're sectioning off parts of the human race to feed them so that they can stay into power. Like, there's a lot of weird conspiracy theories, and it includes stuff like Elon Musk is a reptilian, but
bases underneath the desert, X percentage of the population, you said, being agreed to giving to them for food. I do believe it was Eisenhower that they say had a private meeting with the leaders of the alien races and made these kind of deals with them in exchange for weaponry and technology.
And also not getting destroyed.
And not being completely wiped off the face of the planet. So because that is what reptilians are kind of reduced to, it is seen as, yeah, they probably exist, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Right. Even with that being their storyline, I think that this third one is the more problematic for the human race. There's different names for this one. There's the Whites, the Nordics, the
Pleiadians.
Pleiadians, thank you.
You see where we're going with some of these names?
So they are tall, pale-skinned, thin, long, very, very pale hair, blue-eyed. They are supposed to be
the only altruistic and saving us, and they're trying to help us, and they're trying to make us better. Because, we can't do for our own. They need to come in and
There was somebody else who really liked tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. Who was that? He had a really weird mustache.
Was he from, like, Austria?
Yeah. That painter guy.
That painter guy. There was also a bunch of people from the West Asian Peninsula that came over and thought that they were helping with giving smallpox-ridden blankets to the locals, and shuffling them off to the shittiest pieces of real estate and doing their best to make sure none of their language and culture survived.
I mean, we can even touch into the side of breeding out the undesirable traits and or people.
Mm-hmm. Like that whole eugenics thing.
Oh, the big E word.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one we can say. I think that's the one.
I think eugenics is like the one,
like,
the one hit all of this is allowed.
We're dancing around the actual words because we don't know what'll get us, like, 86th from Spotify or YouTube or whatever.
Or any of them.
But the E word, I'm pretty sure was like.
I think that one's okay to use. It's not okay, but it's okay to use.
It's okay for us to use the word without getting, 86
canceled
by the algorithm.
This is, and like I say, I think this is the most problematic one at least for humankind, because now this is where we're looking at the topic of starseed.
And that's going to be one of our...
we're going to do...
we're going to dive into that one.
Dive episode next year. It might even be sometime around this time next year, so we have a lot of time to deep dive.
Yeah.
There's a lot wrong with that whole concept. It's quite literally, the alien DNA sent down to Earth to integrate with our own and make
us better.
To make us...
It's sort of... And that's why we have people who have autism. We have different...
That's not a medical thing come true. That's just saying this is what this theory is.
Yeah, the theory is like, people who have autism, they're starseeds. And that's why they don't perceive the world the same way. And we just explained that we've had people with autism throughout. That's how we got the pyramids. That's how we got the Easter Island heads. That's how we got Stonehenge. Like, people who hyperfixate and are highly specialized.
There are people out there that can do some amazing things.
What's been here?
Yeah.
Like, they've always been part of our DNA. It wasn't aliens. It wasn't aliens.
Was it aliens? As you can see, this is a hot button topic in this household, which I agree with 100% because
this is not one we disagree.
No, she just gets a little bit more heated on it than I do. It is 100% trying to push a certain race and image as being superior to others, and
as being a savior aspect.
This is something that has taken a foothold in the metaphysical community.
I think there's a lot of people within the metaphysical community who have been downtrodden a lot, and there's a need to feel special. And we've discussed this before. There's always those people who want to be the most special of the special because they've never felt special, or they just have a narcissism problem.
Or they just need an explanation as to why.
Yeah, they don't have the resources for the proper therapies and the proper things that they need to do to understand why their brain works the way it does. So they get a book, they hear about this starseed thing, and they're like, that sounds like me. And it's like, yeah, because...
You don't want to admit it.
But you've never been able to get diagnosed or what have you. So you're just glomping onto that. So I think there's a lot of that within the metaphysical community. I think the starseed concept has been very toxic to those people who are very vulnerable to the idea.
Yeah.
Of something that makes them feel like they make sense in this world. And I think what's so hard for a lot of those people is the fact that they don't realize none of us feel like we make sense in this world.
Yeah.
Every single one of us has walked through this world like we're an imposter. Like, we have no idea what we're doing. We're lost. We are barely holding it together half the time. And I think a lot of them don't interact with enough people in a way that they can understand that that's not different. That's the human experience. That's not a starseed. That's the human experience. And it's weird to say, but I think honestly it's really nice to say on a day like this where you may have people who feel alone or disconnected from their family, and even though they're sitting there listening to racist Uncle Chuck talk about what the fuck ever, you're not alone.
No.
There are millions of people across the country right now experiencing exactly what you're experiencing right now. You may not have somebody to talk to about it, but you're not alone.
Yep.
And I think this is where collective consciousness comes into play. I think that's one of the things metaphysical can actually help us tap into. It's like, even when we feel completely alone in a room, we're never alone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
that took me off on a weird tangent. I'm so sorry.
No, don't, because I'm going to piggyback. I'm going to say something that I had written in our November newsletter, and that is, once you're done with your family time and you've gone through the hardness of it and you're feeling pretty heavy, then it's time to contact your chosen family. Because there's two types of family. There's blood family and there's chosen family. And as you get older, you learn that chosen family is the family you have for the rest of the time. Your biological family is going to be there. It's going to be, there's love there because you're blood related and you grew up with and you love them because of, but your chosen family is the ones that you really want to be around. So when your time with your blood family is done, call your chosen family. Get in touch with them because they can either help you recenter after a rough dinner with racist crazy Uncle Chuck, or you might be what they need to help get over their rough dinner with crazy Uncle Chuck. So
to help each other make your social battery.
And not just today, today specifically because there's a lot of people being forced into those kind of situations, but just in general, make sure you're always checking in with your chosen family. They're the key to your happiness. You're the key to their happiness. They're the ones that really want to see you succeed and be the wonderful person that you are. So, on that note, we got a little serious. We got a little silly. We've got survived. On this one. I didn't get beaten up. So we're going to go ahead and end this here. Thank you guys so much. Again, being Thanksgiving, we do greatly appreciate each and every one of you that sits down with us every other week and listens to us ramble for an hour or so at a time.
We thank everybody who comes into our shop and allows us to do what we do on a daily basis. We thank our chosen family out there.
Our blood,
and we thank our blood family as well.
We know what it is we do, and that's designed like that for a reason. But their love and support has still helped us get to
the point where we are at today. So I am thankful for everyone who's brought me to the point where I am today, and has allowed me to keep moving forward in a way that I think is the most authentic for my life.
And I am thankful for each and every one of you that hits that like button and shares, subscribes, and passes us on to your friends, your chosen family, and your blood family, and even your crazy racist Uncle Chuck. Maybe he'll learn something.
And we have some sales running on our website through the end of day Monday. So if you're listening to this on Sunday and you want to go check it out, we do have some sales running. Go check it out. We will ship. So
the website is the Menagerie, PGH, all one word, .com. The sales will be, it might not be, is it directly on the website or is it on the
directly on the website?
Directly on the website. All of our amethyst, citrine, and smoky quartz that are $10 and above is 25% off. Our bulk herbs are 10% off. Prepaid services are 20% off. And then
double points.
Double bonus reward points for those of you who are reward members. Again, guys, thank you so much. Do all that stuff that we always ask you to do at the end. We appreciate it when you do that. If you need to get a hold of us, correct us, or call us a bunch of jackasses, The.Conclave.Podcast at gmail.com.
By all means.
Or the same handle on Facebook or Instagram, or comment on any one of the podcasting sites. They don't always get directly to me immediately, but I do constantly go back in and check them and reply as soon as I possibly can.
Thank you again for joining us. Have a great weekend. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Until next time.